In this video, I'm going to be showing you what it takes to make $10,000 a year with cash secured puts. If you're new to cash secured puts or selling options, make sure to check out the videos in the description. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we want to see what it takes to make $10,000 per year with cash secured puts. There are 52 weeks in a year, but we'll pretend 2 weeks are vacation or non-trading weeks. So we'll use 50 weeks for our calculation. That means you need to make $10,000 divided by 50 weeks, which is $200 per week for the whole year. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Thinkorswim platform so we can see what this would take with real cash secured puts. For this video, I'm going to be looking at 2 different stocks so that we can see how much it takes depending on the stock that you're using. I'm going to be looking at QQQ, which is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100. So that basically means a basket of 100 stocks that includes stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Costco, and a bunch more. I'll also be looking at how much this would take if we traded cash secured puts on Tesla as well. If you want to see the same analysis on a different stock, let me know in the comments. So how much money you need in order to make $200 per week with cash secured puts also depends on how much risk you're willing to take. I'm going to be looking at options that are expiring the following Friday or approximately 1 week expirations. And I'll be showing you a range of risk levels. In this case, risk here is how much money you would need if you did end up getting assigned and need to purchase the shares. Also, this is all assuming you never get assigned and you keep selling these cash secured puts consistently. In a real scenario, you may get assigned on your cash secured puts and have to switch to selling covered calls or use some form of the wheel strategy. If you want to learn more about that, check out some of the videos in the description below. Now let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the trade tab in the Thinkorswim platform, and we're going to start with QQQ. And I'm going to be looking at the 4 days out options because this is the closest upcoming Friday. You can look at other time frames as well in terms of how much premium you would get for cash secured puts. But starting with these options, our goal is to make $200 per week, and I'm going to show you different ranges of risk that we could take on to make that $200 per week. So in the first scenario, we're going to look at these $419 strike price put options where you could collect about $98 in premium per contract. So that would require 2 options contracts in order to make about $200. So in order to sell 2 cash secured puts at the $419 strike price, you would be technically taking on a risk of 419 times 2 contracts times 100 because each option contract is equal to 100 shares or about $83,800. This is the risk if the stock ended up closing below 419 at expiration and you did end up getting assigned on this position. You would need $83,800 in order to buy the 200 shares because you're selling 2 options contracts. If you don't end up getting assigned, you end up just collecting 98 times 2 or $196, almost $200 in premium in about 4 days selling that. Now, if you wanted to potentially sell closer to the current stock price, it looks like you could make $218 if you sold the $425 strike price put options. So in this case, you would only need to sell 1 put option. So 425 times 1, since you're only selling 1 put option, times 100 because you have 100 shares per option contract, which is $42,500. That's how much you would need if you did end up getting assigned on selling this put option and had to buy 100 shares of QQQ stock. So as you can see, this second example, you're selling a lot closer to the current stock price, which is about $430, and you're selling at the $425 strike price, which means you do have a higher chance of potentially getting assigned because it's much closer to the current stock price. But because of that risk that you're taking on by selling closer, you can make a higher premium, in this case $218, but you might get assigned on the position. Whereas on the previous example, you needed to sell 2 option contracts at this further away price in order to make about $200, but it would cost you $83,000 approximately if you did end up getting assigned. Now I'm going to jump over to Tesla stock so we can look at an example with another stock that isn't an ETF. And again, if you want to see this same analysis with any other stocks, feel free to leave that in the comments section and I will try to make a video in the future. Jumping over to Tesla stock, I'm again looking at the 4 days out or the upcoming Friday. You can always look at different time frames as well if you want to see different premiums. And again, we're going to look at different risk levels here. So I'm going to start by looking at the $190 strike price put options, which seem to be giving you about $110 in premium for one option contract. So it looks like you'd need to sell 2 of these 190 strike price put options in order to make over $200. In this case, it would be $110 times 2 contracts, so you could make about $220, but let's just say that's close enough to $200 for our calculations here. And now we're going to see how much risk or how much money you would need in case you got assigned selling these put options. So in this case, you're going to be selling 2 put options at the $190 strike price. So 190 times 2 put option contracts times 100, because each option contract is equal to 100 shares. So in this case, you would need $38,000 in order to purchase the shares if you did end up getting assigned on this position. But this would also allow you to collect about $220 in premium in 4 days. Now, if you wanted to take on a different strike price, we can look at this one, the $195 strike price, which gives you about $236, so a little bit over $200 again, but kind of similar. But in this case, you only need to sell 1 put option contract. So 195 times 1 put option contract times 100 shares per option contract. If you did end up getting assigned, you would need $19,500 in order to purchase 100 shares. Again, similar to the previous example, if you sell your put option contract closer to the current price, you don't have to sell as many put options, but the risk is you are more likely to get assigned because the stock doesn't have to move as far in order for this position to end up getting assigned. Whereas if you sold the 190 strike put options, you would need to sell 2 put options in order to make over $200. But if you did end up getting assigned, you would need $38,000 in order to purchase those 200 shares. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions on what stock you want me to analyze next time, feel free to leave those down below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to help support the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.